Hey guys, it's me again, Drew. Story time. So I want to talk about a specific event that happened in my life in collecting, and this had to do with my guy Griffey. So as you guys probably know by now, I was a Griffey fan, following him from his rookie year all the way through when he entered Hall of Fame in 2016. I was able to see him four different times live, and the last time I got to see him was in 2007. The Reds were visiting in to Atlanta, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine. He actually was my former roommate in college, and he had gotten four tickets to the game. Asked, "Hey, do you want to go?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I want to go." So the four people were my ex roommate or old roommate Dave, his son Austin, myself, and a college student that Dave knew. And so the four of us go down, and the way we were sitting in the stands, it was Dave and then Austin and myself. And Austin was probably 8 years old at the time. This happened to be Austin's first game. He had never been to a baseball game, and he was just learning it and excited about it or whatever. But I remember talking to him and talking about what's going on in baseball. And Dave's a bigger than a baseball fan. And so Austin wasn't new to this game, but still, it was just kind of fun getting to know my friend's little kid. And anyway, so during this game, which was in July 2007, Griffey gets up at one point, and we're watching him, and sure enough, he goes deep. Beautiful swing. That beautiful swing, everybody knows. Takes it deep into right field, stands there and admires it. I go crazy. Dave go crazy. Austin went crazy, and I don't know if he knew what was going on. But anyway, we had a good time. Griffey goes to bases. Well, after he scores, they show up. Congratulations, Ken Griffey Jr. You've now passed Frank Robinson on the all-time home run list, 586 home runs. So it's kind of a milestone moment, and I didn't realize at the time he had entered that game tied with Frank Robinson. But anyway, as time goes on, uh, years go by, and I find out, or Austin actually, he turns 16 years old, and he starts to work for me where I work full time. And I get to know Austin more as a young man now. I knew him throughout his childhood, but as he's getting older, get to know him, his character, his person, who he is. And it just so happens that at some point after this game, Upper Deck had put out this weird little set. It was called Game Day Set, and it talked about different things that happened during that season in 2007, including the Griffey passing the milestone of Frank Robinson. And we Dave had found this card on eBay, and I was kind of conflicted. I saw this card, and it was kind of the highs and the lows of both extreme of finding a card you didn't know had existed. The high was I was there, I was at the game. This was my guy, and this card showed and talked about Griffey passing, and it was game I was personally connected to. The downside was first, it's not a pretty card. It's ugly. I don't know who designed it. They crammed so much information on this card. There was an autograph, but it was on sticker. It's a very dark autograph. It's on the side, kind of as an afterthought almost. It was a numbered card, so there wasn't many of them out there, and there wasn't much eye appeal to me. Well, Dave had this card and he knew it, but I just didn't have a big heart for it, and I really was so big into vintage, I wasn't looking at purchasing cards. But anyway, back to the story. So Austin is working for me, and he ends up working for me for a number of years, up until this last year where he started his own business. And anyway, Austin, I would talk about this Griffey card and be like, hey man, I'll trade you for that card or whatever, just joking, because that was a shared connection that he had his very first ball game, seeing Ken Griffey Jr. hit that home run, but of course, the last time I got to see him. But anyway, what had happened was I joked about this card and teased about this card, but this last year was my 50th birthday. And at this point, Austin was one of my managers. And for my birthday, what he did was he scoured the internet, and as a gift from him and the other managers for me, they bought this card for me. And I'll show some closer pictures of it. But this is called the box score card. But as you can see, it's numbered 5 out of 10. It's got the Griffey Auto on it. But the point about this card is not that I got a Griffey autograph, because I have some Griffey autographs. It was 2 points. The first point was, this was a card that, uh, I was at this game July 16th, 2007, and it talks about, what happened on the back where he passed Frank Robinson on the all-time list. So this has a special significance. This card being, and when I opened up this package and saw this thing, I was just floored. I was floored that these guys cared about me so much, that Austin realized how important it would be for me to actually have this card. So I was just blessed, and I am blessed to know Austin, to know these other guys, and for what they did to do this for me. But that's not where the story ends. So turns out I'm looking around about a few months later, and I find out that this game day set, which again is not very attractive in my opinion, it's very crowded. All the information is very, small and whatever. But this is called the box score, as you can see, and it just has a list of the box score and who did what during that game. I found out that this is actually part of a 3-card set. I had no idea. And it just so happened that there was some cards on auction on eBay. And again, these are all limited numbers, so they're not. But I put in some bids, and what I found was I actually won a second one of it, called the Game Day Lineup. And this one has the lineup. Same basic card, same very small autograph, numbered, has the same back with the same story. But the difference is this one's got the box score, the original one that I had, and then the lineup. So I've got 2 out of the 3, but unfortunately I was outbid on the third one. And the third one actually has a large picture on it, and of Griffey actually hitting the home run. And that's probably the most desired out of the 3. And I looked around and I tried to find it. So this is one of those cards that is in my want list. This is what I'm referring to as my Griffey white whale, is to get the game day card that actually has his photo on it, so I can have the complete set. But the bigger thing about this is that, guys, spend time with those, and realize where you are in time. When I went to this baseball game, I've been to dozens of games in my life, and I went with a guy that I had spent years with, as a roommate and friends. It's just one of those things, those relationships. But then his son, and I didn't realize an impact that, not that I could have on Austin, but rather the impact that Austin had on me. And I'm proud of Austin. He's a good kid. He works hard. He started his own photography business. Does amazing work. And while I miss him around work, I'm really proud of him. I'm keeping in touch with him of what's going on, trying to get him into vintage, but he's getting there. He's getting there. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story about connection. Again, connection with me and Austin, with me and my old roommate, with me and Griffey, how it all comes together. And over a silly baseball card that's not very attractive, but still, it's a great memory, not just of the game that I got to go see my boy hit the home run, but it's a great memory of me being able to connect with this kid who has really turned out to be a good friend of mine. So there's my story. There's the story about the Griffey, the story about Austin. And hey, maybe someday I'll find that white whale and get that last one. But until then, well, you guys, you be good.